Yeah, so yes, as promised, we've got Earl Cloete here from Seaside Spurs, Chairman of Seaside. Earl, welcome to the weekly roundup.
Thank you.
How's it feel being at the roundup? I know you normally watch the videos. Now you're in the hot seat, in the middle.
Yeah, no, between it and I enjoy the show. I know we've been chatting quite a while about coming on the show, and even on my earlier days before Seaside. So yeah. Last day of work for me, so why not? Why not?
Okay, so obviously we want to know more about Seaside. We want to focus on Seaside Spurs, where it all started, why it started, and obviously the fantastic journey that it's taken over the past season at Two Oceans. So yeah, floor is yours, so to say.
Yeah, so look, before Seaside started, there was a vision, right? And I was at my previous club, where I was the president of the club, and I looked at this vision, and it kind of read as follows: like, how do we make football more accessible within the valley that we live in, and not just Ocean View, the whole Fishhook Valley that we live in? Because we started seeing like a Sunday league happening, which I feel was good for the community because it was affordable, it was attainable, all those kind of things. Whereas the previous club I was at plays at Cape District. So now you start looking at, you're coming out of COVID, communities getting poorer. How do we keep people in sports? How do we keep these young guys playing football? And I'm not just talking juniors, I'm talking the youth as well, into the kind of young adults, because Super Leagues became younger, right? It wasn't like when we played like at 29, 30, it was like 19, 20-year-olds. So now you have a youth guy who needs like almost 200 Rand a month to travel to Wynberg or Salt River, whatever the case may be, which just wasn't there anymore post-COVID for many families. So we looked at, so part of it was, how do we make, as I said, football attainable? And obviously we have a LFA in the valley, and in my weekly session, so this is now 2021, we had every Saturday morning before our SAB games, we had like a workshop with our coaches and our exco team at the club, and we looked at things, how we're going to handle COVID protocols this year, what are our objectives, and it was there when I said, guys, if you think that we're still going to be here in 3 to 4 times, traveling like we are traveling, thousands of rands a month, then we have another thing coming, because we can see what's happening in our community. There's a Sunday league, it's like 12 to 14 teams strong of adults based in Ocean View.
Okay.
And instead of having a problem with the league, understand why guys are playing there, And fundamentally, it costs them 10 Rand to play there every Sunday versus, every second week having to travel at like 70, 80 Rand. And that was like, is there opportunity for us to bring football back like it was back in Ocean View? Many people speak of it, And the only way to do that is to make football affordable. And that is where I started, advocating joining the Two Oceans LFA. Obviously, there were people not on board. Okay, many were not on board. And instead of kind of headbutting and constantly having this thing where I started seeing that, how do we future-proof football? I said, okay, that's where a new club started. At the time, I didn't know the name, what it was going to be. I kind of stood at home, I looked and I said, okay, the ocean is an obvious thing. But I can't call it ocean something because there's already ocean. And I was like, okay, we're along the sea, therefore Seaside. And then the Spurs element, kind of from a strategy and branding or marketing perspective, that we hopefully hope to leverage as time goes along. That kind of where it started. And then following the vision of how do we make football attainable, there was more of a main objective or goal as well as a Vision 2030. And that's something that the club is founded on, from how we handle ourselves, what we do, and how we do things. And that is to be pro by 2030, right? Again, I looked at, how do you do this? How do you do this? And, in my mind, there were 2 things that prevents people from doing this, as facilities and finance. Okay, so that's in my views. And, it's easy to find good people, I would say that, maybe because of the circle I operate in, but finance and facilities, that seems to be the struggle everywhere. Yeah. We have a beautiful facility in Ocean View. I mean, that AstroTurf is just over 4 years old, and some still think it's like new last year. And in finance, being in the corporate world, it's like people or companies believe in brands, you know. So as long as we build a brand around Seaside, I find that look, there's opportunity to get
Yeah,
funding.
because they can associate themselves with the brand.
Exactly, and the more, and being in not just corporate but marketing corporate, that kind of work-related juices keep flowing, and you just think of, okay,
It's easy, yeah.
exactly.
Just to interrupt you there, not to just keep that train of thought there. So I want to establish, so basically the idea of Seaside Spurs opening was so that you could keep everybody in that community there. Is that what you're saying? So they didn't have to travel outside and have that financial burden now, or having to pay to travel, because obviously at the moment the club there at the moment are traveling every week to Cape District, to various venues, and that was now, well, that is a struggle still now, even though COVID's gone more than a year ago. So that's basically to keep.
So not just to keep that club, but how do you make it more accessible? So I always speak of this. Those who know, I always speak of this platform. Like, how do we create this platform for more to participate? Right? Ocean View, or the club I was at, it was quite big, but within that comes challenges, because who plays, who doesn't play. So there is opportunity to grow to more clubs and you know, by partnering with neighboring communities, how do we then grow the football? I mean, we have so many fields in the valley. Right, in the valley, and I speak of the Fish Hooks, the Noordu, Skapelon schools, and then obviously in Ocean View. So how do we grow football in the valley? Because ultimately, cost of running clubs is just going to go up.
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing was that, is it competitive enough for our kids? Which, you know, I took fair enough. I also made a comparison that a previous, or one of the sister, no, I won't call it the sister club, the other community club, when they started a couple of years ago, like, the one was beating the others like 8 loves, 7. But fast forward now, it's much more competitive. Why? Because a platform was created, opportunities were created. So this was just about, you know, how do we get more participating? And the only way is to make it accessible and affordable. You're not going to get more people needing to spend 200 odd. This is over and above subs, buying
that's the
socks,
normal,
all your other kind of things. It's now also, you know, how do you bring it down to cater for the communities that you're operating? We're not the Tiger Bird clubs that pay 900 rand for subs or whatever the case may be. We're just struggling. So that is kind of, you know, it wasn't just about bringing that club into saving costs, but how do we grow this?
So that's the whole plan, the whole vision behind it, and so on. Then obviously you'd start participating at the Two Oceans. Obviously you get accepted there as a club. How many teams are there?
So there's, I think, nine of which Ubuntu's one.
Okay.
So they operate as a...
No, how many teams are Seaside? How many teams do you have?
Oh, okay. So we have 4 juniors.
Okay.
Under 18, 12, 14. Now 8s and 10s are 2 each, so AB.
Okay.
And we have just over 40 seniors as well.
Wow.
So,
okay. So you start participating in the Two Oceans. Start winning some games, obviously. And then you see, hang on, we can win the league. How did it go?
Look, I think before starting, I needed people, right? So, you know, firstly, it's about partnering with like-minded people, and with that vision of 2030, you need to really choose the right people, understanding that there's going to be struggles, understanding that it's not going to be on a platter or all rosy. You know, I think 3 weeks ago, Jason Lekai told me, if someone's struggling at maths, you bring in a maths tutor, right? Not the jogs or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
And wanting to be pro, what more than a former pros or pros? And that's where Diego Brown and Franklin Kale come in. As founder members of Seaside Spurs, you know. Bringing that professional mentality, not just on the field, but how they used to operate, playing at Sundowns, Maritzburg, all those, SA, Franklin. So they brought in all those kind of professionalism on the field, as well as how we set up the structure, which guided us a lot, you know. There can be a vision, but, you know, we need the people there under.
Execute.
And we met one day, I won't forget, because I have the paper laminated of our first meeting, because the plan is to put that in our clubhouse one day when we get there. We met one day, I think it was the 1st of April, on April Fool's, by one of our other founder members, Romeo Jamison, a local businessman there. And we kind of plotted out the plan for the year. Okay. So we knew that Two Oceans wasn't as competitive. Therefore, weekly or twice a month, we needed a competition that was going to drive us and sustain the interest of these guys. Because these ABC guys, these SAB guys, all those kind of came on. And that's obviously where the Coke was identified. We went through the SAFA calendar. We picked every senior tournament where we can, juniors as well where we can, and then that's kind of when we started assembling the team. But also it took a lot of convincing to get some players in where they could be playing in Tiger Woods leagues. And the guys just believe, here's the vision, here's the mission, which is Athlone, Mission Athlone, and this is what we can offer. And when I say offer, I mean the opportunity, the platform, you know, those kind of things. Starting the LFA, look at, as I said, it wasn't that difficult. It was like, you know, 8-0s, 12-0s, those kind of things. But we were also a very strong team, as I said. And then it was about finding competitive friendlies. We played in Nova Park and their preparation for
the playoffs.
The playoffs, I think it was a 4-4 draw.
Yeah, 4-4.
But it was good. So we played Ubuntu, Clayhood. So we looked at those kind of friendlies to keep those guys stimulated. Because I mean, like I said, many of them have been playing for years in the SAB and ABC. So the LFA went. We look at based on how the LFA and the competitiveness, I knew looking at the team we had that we were going to win. But it was more around how do we sustain this level of interest and competitiveness for October, November. And that I think was our biggest challenge for us as a management committee. How do we sustain that? And it was a lot of gatherings. It was a lot of braais. We did this thing that everyone does, the color matching picnics and you know, pochi competitions. It was really about how do we keep these people engaged. We had coaching sessions. When I say coaching, I mean life coaching. We had a session where I spoke to them about why the club starts, how they will be the beginning of this journey. And in through that, we started progressing in the Coke. We're following the table, looking at who you can play next. And I think the Coke was such an amazing journey, not just for how we progressed, but how we built the brand. And it comes back to that brand. And in that brand, people started believing in us, especially when we beat Nova Park. You know, that's kind of where that whole giant killer stigma, you know, that was going on. And I won't forget, we had the night before, I had the session with them on them believing in themselves. You get that thing, I don't think you find it locally. I borrowed it from someone where if you hold hands and you put that thing between one another, it doesn't beep, but as soon as you leave, it kind of beeps. So it just shows how connected we are. And this was the kind of psychological things we did before we went to play at Nova Park, you know what I mean? And they kind of, I think Cape Town just fell in love with us, to be honest. Supporters at home, I mean, we started in the base of probably 10, which was the founder families, you know, our wives, our kids. They were kind of our biggest supporters. And to build that support, it kind of, we really had to dig deep. I'm talking about...
But then again, it worked in your favor because the Coke was so well supported this year. And I think it's because it was post-COVID and so on. I mean, you guys beat an Overpark at Rooikrans, and Rooikrans was packed for the times when they hosted some games there.
Listen, I'm just glad that we were part of the journey for Seaside and promoting the brand. But you're right. The Coke this year was, and all the newspapers came on board, the media, everybody was jumping, the supporters, even a lot of neutral people were going to Coke games just to watch Coke.
To watch Coke,
So
and that's why I say for Seaside it worked well in your favor because now everybody knew Nova Park was sort of and I had some newspapers had you guys as like the favorites. I don't know where they came out that, but anyway. But then again, now new boys, Seaside Spurs coming in, basically beating the favorites, and that sort of counted in your favor, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely, and it gave us so much motivation to show, you know, in this short period. I know Andrew constantly said 6 months old, 7 months old. You know, and for me, I was caught in this moment or in this journey that I still to this point where people say, like 9 months old and you want. I don't think it kind of sunk in on my side because And I don't know why. I can't explain.
I think it's because I think it's because the plan is clear, the vision is
Yeah.
there, and all you guys are focusing on is how we're getting there. Like we're gonna get there, and all these, so all the little victories and stuff that's coming. So yeah, but that's expected because we're getting there, you know. And I think that's maybe the positive way you guys are looking at, which I think is the only way to go. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're not hung up on the small things. But now, yes, you've won promotion. It was tough.
Yeah.
You faced a couple of strong teams there
And
at the
knocked
Yep, at the
knocked us
Clover.
out of the Coke, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was at that match at the playoff match at the end, and when the final whistle went, I mean, your guys just went ballistic. And I think what was great about the Clover guys is like they understood. It was they're the ones that caused they put you off your pedestal for the Coke. But yet you came back now and you took, and I thought that was good to see. I mean, I witnessed that personally. That was great.
Listen, I got to reiterate that point. They celebrated like at every victory, not just that game. I was there for most of their victories in the playoffs. But I think, Earl, you know, I always kept on, you know, people follow the show, always said it's a fairy tale story. Yes, it is a fairy tale story, you know, from nothing to semi-final of the Coke, first from nothing, winning your LFA, winning, you know, winning promotion to the regional third division, semi-final of the Coke. You know, a lot of clubs established clubs don't even do that in a season. And I think maybe the planning and you having the right people around you, I think is the starting point, has actually contributed a lot to that success. Yeah. And I think, you know, from what I hear from you, it's not easy starting a club. The advice to people out there who want to start a club, you know, we got a lot of communities where there are a lot of people trying to get youth off the street, you know, and thinking out of football they can do something and starting a club. You got any advice for them about that?
I think you need to first start with why are you starting this? You know, many people start clubs because they have disagreements with other clubs or what they want to go on their own. And I can say when I left my current club, there wasn't like any issues. There was disappointment, obviously, but it wasn't because of any issues. I identified a clash in vision, and you can either fight, you stay and fight, or you kind of break away. So the first thing is kind of, why am I starting this? What am I seeking to achieve? Many of us, or many people, start to serve their communities, to get kids off the street. That's kind of the common goal. And if that is what you seek to achieve, understand what it takes to achieve that. Starting it and managing it, right? Ours was to be pro, so everything had to have that structure of pro. You know, and it starts with things like training kit. An hour before training, that's the cutoff for saying you're not going to make training. This is at the LFA level, right? Where you're winning 9-10-0 and people. So understand first, why am I trying to start this? And then what it will take, and then getting the right people. That's kind of, you know, you're on the same wavelength, like-minded people, that they know the one is not here to promote kids or to sell kids as agents versus the other one is to serve the community. Because that thing right there is two different. You know, the one needs a level of excellence in their training, how they operate. The other one is just like make time for them, get closer to them, have them, let them have fun. So it's definitely why getting the right people. Then it's about the brand. Like we always speak about this brand. You know, we you know, having gazebos made and gazebos made and featherbow flags and banners or whatever is not to look at how they want to be Seaside or whatever the case may be. It's exposure. This is the brand. This is the level of professionalism we seek to achieve. Therefore, it's easier to go and say, I mean, even today in the local paper, today being Wednesday, in the People's Post, we're in there again.
The season's over. The season's over.
And I told the guys, like, people's going to start thinking we're sending it. You know, and it's really about the brand is being followed. And so, that's kind of, if I want to say.
Okay.
Listen, as somebody who I can say is a big supporter of Seaside, just seeing how the club has grown and the people behind it, and I really enjoy the way you play your football. Obviously you beat us, so obviously now I have to support you. But, you know, I would like to say well done to you, your fellow founders, your supporters, your players, more than anything else. You know, it also takes a lot for a player to come into a new club and he doesn't really have a name, if you know what I mean. A lot of players now, they want to play for a club that's got a name or a history or whatever, and they creating the history now with you. So congrats. I know next year it's a big year, you know, preparing to get into the regional 3rd division. Hopefully you guys, and knowing you guys, will hit the ground running there and try and get promotion into the next league. But from our side, I'd just like to say congratulations, well done. You know, I'm sure you got a lot of new supporters out there that's now going to be following your brand. And as a fellow United fan, I'm disappointed you Spurs, but I'll take it. But congrats all, really, from our side, well done.
Thank you. Thanks for all the support, you know, the constant messages. It just kind of reassures us that we're still on that path, we're still on that track, and 2023 is going to be exciting. I told the guys it's going to be much harder than 2022.
Sure.
But there's a plan. The 10th we have our Bosberad as a management committee. So we'll go away and just kind of plan the year. Some of our juniors won the league as well, so there's Dennis Goldberg, which we identify as something, so therefore there will be some recruitment in the junior structure to just bolster those specific teams so that we can go out there and do good.
Okay, so I think that's it. We can go on and on. But yeah, we want to say thanks to Earl for popping around and having a chat to us about Seaside Spurs. And hopefully you get a better understanding of Seaside Spurs. You've now heard why they're in existence, what was the plan, and so on. And and it's, as they say, from the horse's mouth. And Earl, again, thanks.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can have you on maybe next year for maybe another achievement and so on.
God willing.
God willing.
Thanks.
God willing.
Till later.
Thanks.
Okay, so...